Hey everybody, Hunter Curry here for Valonia Christian Church once again. We hope you enjoyed this morning service that was full of wonderful testimonies. Here are some of the highlights.
Good morning. It's been more than 2 months of Sundays since I've been here, and I'm not offering any apologies, but I've got a little testimonial to tell before we get started singing. The last Sunday I was here, the next Sunday I went on vacation to Panama with my daughter, son, wife, and granddaughter, and we have a little place on the beach there, and nobody swims there. Didn't know why, but everybody else swims farther down the beach. And I had taken some of those river floating tubes and we inflated them, and me and my granddaughter was having a blast for hours that first day, which would have been Memorial Day, I guess. And she would ride one of the waves all the way into the sand and then come back out. Well, we got brave and we kept venturing a little farther out, and where the waves would hit us about chest deep and we would have a blast. Well, a storm was coming in, and I said, we better get in. We don't want to be out here in the water when the lightning starts. And she said, I want to do it one more time. I said, okay, we'll do it one more time. So we went out, and you can imagine what happened. It wasn't good luck. Things turned bad. We're at that particular part of the beach, there's what's called riptide. And when the waves come in, the current sweeps out underneath your feet really strong. Well, about every half hour, the big waves would come in. They were 6 to 8 foot surfing type, but nobody surfed there, nobody swam there. And when those 3 big waves came in, we ended up on the wrong side of the surf. And we were getting swept out to sea. And no matter how hard I swam, and her sitting in that float tube, I couldn't gain any ground. And she said, should I scream for mommy? And I said, no. I said, I think I can get this. And I kept trying, and we kept getting swept farther out. So eventually I said, yes, go ahead and scream for your mother. And she screamed really loud, and they came running out of the cabin. And Stephanie looked about that tall on the beach. We were so far out in the ocean. And I said a prayer. And about that time, a fish bumped me in the cheeks with a head about that wide. And I thought, oh my God, I hope this isn't a shark. And I told her, put your feet in the tube. And it was like the hand of God reached down and started pushing us back to shore. And we're both alive today. And when I collapsed on the beach, I was extremely exhausted. And everybody was crying, but we were safe. And that's why now for the rest of the time down there, I'm a white person.
Morning, everyone. I got more help than I was planning on. I can't hold both. Here, Carter, you can stand over here. All right, so it's often said that tomorrow isn't promised, but it's also the truth. Life is fragile, and the moments we have are gifts. 2 weeks ago, the truth became very real for me and my
than when I was here last time too, by the way. There's just so much always going on. There's new stuff. I'd never heard about the children's camp. But I wanted to take this chance to share some love with this congregation. And one way I'd like to do that right now is I'd like to read to you out of Ephesians. I'm going to read out of chapter 1. I'm going to read verses 3 to 14. Paul is writing a letter of exhortation to the church of Ephesus, and I believe that it applies very well, perfectly.
And one thing, everybody got up here, I'd say something, so I'm going to say something. Every now and then during sermons or communion meditation, Jay, Pat, different ones mention how we're all set in our way in the church, and we always sit in the same pew all the time. I personally enjoy that. That's my seat right over there. When I'm not here, you know it, but it works backwards. If someone new is here, we also know that. So there's a good-looking gentleman right back in the middle. Everybody look over there in his maroon shirt. and say hello to Billy Chowney. He was a part of our church many years ago, at least 50, because I was here. So, good morning, Billy. So, that's all I have.
A huge thank you to Tim Reynolds for your very wonderful testimony this morning as well. We hope you will join us again next Sunday at 10 o'clock. Have a great day, everybody, and God bless.